What if your uncertainty is not a sign you're lost, but proof God is leading you somewhere greater? Stay with me because Psalm 23 may reveal the door you've been praying for. If you are joining Jesus' prayer hub for the first time, you are in the right place for your miracle. The greatest tragedy in life is not failure. It is walking through life disconnected from divine direction. There are people listening right now who are not confused because they lack intelligence, but because they have been trying to navigate a spiritual journey with natural understanding. And when your path feels uncertain, when doors seem closed, when tomorrow looks undefined, Psalm 23 does not merely offer comfort. It reveals a kingdom principle. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. That is not poetry. That is a declaration of divine governance. It means when God leads, lack loses its authority. You may feel delayed, but delay is not denial. You may feel hidden, but hidden seasons are often preparation seasons. A shepherd never loses sight of his sheep, and God has not lost sight of you. Even in this moment, there are doors forming in places you have not looked. There are answers developing while you are still praying. There is movement in what appeared motionless. Stay with me because before this prayer ends, you may recognize the very door God has already placed before you. Psalm 23 says, He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Notice, restoration comes before revelation. God often repairs your inner life before He redirects your outer life. Many people want open doors, but they do not want the internal alignment required to walk through them. Uncertainty has a way of making people panic. Panic produces poor decisions, but purpose is never discovered through panic. It is discovered through trust. When the shepherd leads, he does not always explain every turn. He reveals enough for obedience. Faith is not needing the full map. Faith is trusting the shepherd with the next step. Some of you have been asking, God, which path should I take? But perhaps the greater question is, am I willing to be led? Because divine guidance is not merely information. It is relationship. Sheep do not follow signs, they follow a voice. And many are missing direction because they have become too distracted to hear. There are doors that talent cannot open. There are opportunities effort alone cannot create. They open through alignment with divine timing. What God has assigned to you cannot be permanently withheld from you. In a moment, we will uncover why some closed doors were actually protection, not rejection. Stay with me. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Notice the text says through, not stuck in. Valleys are passages, not permanent addresses. Shadows cannot harm you. They only suggest a presence without substance. Some fears in your life have been shadows pretending to be realities. The valley has a purpose. It teaches trust where comfort cannot. It develops spiritual perception. It matures authority. Many want mountain testimony without valley training. But your difficult season may be preparing you for stewardship over greater things. And hear this clearly. Some doors did not open because they were never your doors. Some relationships dissolved because they could not carry your destiny. Some delays occurred because premature access would have damaged what God was building in you. What looked like loss was often divine editing. The shepherd not only leads, he corrects. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Even correction becomes mercy in the hands of God. Direction is not always pleasant, but it is always purposeful. Today, there are new doors before you, doors of wisdom, doors of opportunity, doors of peace, doors of spiritual clarity. But these doors are often disguised as obedience. Sometimes the next open door is a conversation you have been afraid to have. Sometimes it is a step you have postponed. Sometimes it is simply the courage to move after a season of waiting. What if the breakthrough you've prayed for is hidden in one act of obedience today? Stay with me because this next truth can shift everything. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Understand this. God does not merely help you survive opposition. He demonstrates His favor in front of it. The presence of resistance does not mean the absence of purpose. In fact, resistance often confirms significance. There is a difference between striving and being led. Striving exhausts, guidance empowers. Many are tired because they are carrying responsibilities that belong to the shepherd. But Psalm 23 invites you back into trust. And trust does not mean inactivity. Trust means acting from revelation rather than fear. When God opens a door, walk through it boldly. Stop calling yourself stuck when heaven calls you positioned. I believe today some listening are at a threshold. You have stood too long at the edge of decision, but this is your moment to move. New doors are not always dramatic. Sometimes they begin with renewed vision. When your thinking changes, your direction changes. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Not occasionally, all the days. That means even in seasons you called barren, goodness was pursuing you. Even in nights you thought you were abandoned, mercy was tracking you. Lift your expectation. The shepherd is not leading you in circles. He is leading you into purpose. Father, in the name of Jesus, I pray for every person whose path feels uncertain today. Let confusion break. Let divine clarity rise. Order their steps. Reveal hidden opportunities. Open doors no man can shut. Close every path not assigned to their destiny. Restore courage where fear has ruled. Let peace govern every decision. And let every listener sense the shepherd's voice more clearly than ever before. I declare this day that what looked blocked will begin to open. What looked delayed will begin to move. What looked uncertain will become ordered under divine wisdom. Do not leave this moment without receiving this. Your path is not random, your doors are not forgotten, and your shepherd is still leading. And what he leads, he sustains. There are moments in life when not knowing what comes next feels heavier than the battle itself. You pray, you wait, you seek direction, and still the road ahead appears hidden. But uncertainty is not always a sign something is wrong. Sometimes uncertainty is the environment where trust is formed. When the shepherd is leading, he does not always show the full destination at once. He reveals the next faithful step. That is how divine guidance works. It stretches your dependence so your confidence rests in God rather than circumstances. Many people mistake transition for abandonment. They assume because the old season has ended and the new one has not fully appeared, they have been forgotten. But what feels like silence may actually be strategic positioning. God often moves in ways invisible before they become undeniable. Joseph experienced the pit before the palace. David wandered before the throne. Their uncertainty was not punishment. It was preparation. And your season may be no different. What you call confusion may be God disrupting your dependence on familiar patterns so you can follow a higher order. Sometimes the path feels unclear because God is teaching you to walk by faith and not by sight. If you knew every detail, faith would not be required. But when the shepherd leads, even hidden paths have purpose. Stay with me, because what feels delayed in your life may actually be the doorway to your next breakthrough. There are moments when closed options are not setbacks, but divine redirection. Some things had to end so better things could begin. Some opportunities had to disappear because they were beneath your assignment. God does not merely guide you around danger. He guides you toward destiny. And hear this, being positioned by God often feels uncomfortable before it feels glorious. Seeds are buried before they break forth. But burial is not the end, it is the beginning of growth. What seems uncertain today may be the very process through which God aligns your next step, opens unseen doors, and proves that He has been leading you all along. One of the hardest things to accept is that a closed door can be an act of mercy. We often interpret rejection as loss, but in the economy of God, what did not open for you may have been protecting you. Not every opportunity is an assignment. Not every open path leads to purpose. And not every no is a denial. Sometimes it's divine direction. There are prayers you prayed that were answered through doors closing, relationships that ended, plans that collapsed, opportunities that slipped away. Many of these may have felt painful, but pain does not mean God was absent. It may mean the shepherd was guarding your future from what your present could not yet discern. A shepherd does not lead sheep into danger simply because the path looks attractive. He sees what they cannot see. Some disappointments were not punishment, they were preservation. Had certain doors opened when you wanted them to, they might have distracted you from the greater purpose prepared for you. Delay often protects destiny from premature exposure. Timing matters in the kingdom. A blessing too early can become a burden. Stay with me, because what you thought was rejection may be the very evidence of God's protection over your life. Think about Psalm 23. The shepherd leads beside still waters, not troubled ones. He guides into green pastures, not barren traps. That means his leadership includes refusing access to what would drain, diminish, or destroy you. Some doors closed because they were too small for your calling. Others closed because they carried hidden compromise. And while you mourned what didn't happen, God may have been preparing something better aligned with your purpose. The shepherd does not remove one path without knowing another. What appears as a setback may be sacred redirection. Trust that the same God who shut one door has authority to open another no man can shut. What is meant for you will arrive in the right season, through the right door, with the peace that confirms it was led by God. Psalm 23 is more than a passage of comfort. It is a blueprint of divine leadership. It reveals a God who does not merely rescue his people from trouble, but actively leads them into purpose, favor, and open doors. The Lord is my shepherd is a declaration that your life is under guidance, not left to chance. A shepherd does not wander. He leads with intention. That means your steps, when surrendered to God, carry purpose even when the road feels unclear. When you trust the shepherd's voice, valleys stop looking like dead ends and begin revealing themselves as pathways. The valley was never meant to hold you. It was meant to shape you as you pass through it. Many people see hardship as interruption, but in God's hands, difficulty often becomes development. The shepherd can turn pressure into preparation and uncertainty into breakthrough. Favor is also woven into Psalm 23. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. That is not survival language, that is abundance language. It means even in resistance, God can create opportunities. Even in opposition, he can open doors. Favor is not the absence of obstacles. It is divine advantage in the midst of them. Stay with me because the next truth may reveal why the door you need may already be opening before you recognize it. New doors often begin with new vision. Before God changes your environment, he often changes your perspective. When the shepherd leads, he teaches you to recognize doors others overlook. A conversation becomes an opportunity. A challenge becomes a stepping stone. A closed path redirects you toward a better one. And notice how Psalm 23 ends, with goodness and mercy following you. That means favor is not occasional, it is covenantal. It follows the one who follows the shepherd. So trust his voice today. He is not leading you in circles. He is leading you into purpose. He is opening doors. And what looks uncertain now may soon become the breakthrough you prayed for. As we close, remember this. Your uncertainty is not evidence that God has left you, and closed doors are not proof your future is limited. Psalm 23 reveals a shepherd who leads with purpose, protects with wisdom, and opens doors in appointed seasons. The valley is not your destination, only a passage. The delays were not wasted. The disappointments were not meaningless. And the doors that closed may have been guarding the greater ones ahead. Today, choose to trust the shepherd's voice over fear, his direction over confusion, and his timing over human urgency. The same God who leads beside still waters is leading you right now into favor, breakthrough, and new doors you may not yet see. Walk today expecting guidance. Walk today expecting purpose. Walk today expecting divine movement. And stay with this truth as you go. What if the very uncertainty you fear today is the road God is using to lead you into the breakthrough you'll soon testify about?